Hey everyone, how you doing today? I have a topic that I've had multiple questions, comments on, and I've always gone back with I don't do it, I don't have an opinion. But when I find an expert during the business, I always see if I can bring them on. And we are very lucky to have Noah Hoffman on today. How you doing, Noah?
Doing well. Thank you, Michael.
Excellent, Noah. And you are an expert, a practitioner in something that we call in the industry Airbnb arbitrage. Is that correct?
Well, I want to say Airbnb.
Yeah.
As far as arbitrage, that's one of my the three models that I use.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So you want to run through the three real quick, and then we'll get into who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I started with just management, so
Yep.
managing for other owners,
Gotcha.
and then a few years in, I got into arbitrage. I
Got it.
started picking up. So right now, it's still over half the units I manage
Yeah.
are just management only.
Yep.
Um, I can tell you I manage 30 units now,
All right.
and five of them are arbitrage
Got it. Okay. And you said there was a third model. So you got straight up management, arbitrage, and what's the third?
and ownership.
Got it. There you go. All right.
So
That makes sense.
five of the doors, my wife and I own.
That's awesome. Okay. All right, Noah. Sorry, I sort of diverted. Why don't we introduce the world to who is Noah? What do you do? And all that good stuff.
Sure. So I manage properties. That's all I do now. And one of my so I'm actually getting started in wholesaling.
Okay.
And that was it's a way. I was looking for another way to buy properties.
Right.
And so, and actually, Stratton Brown, who
Hmm. Yeah.
kind of helped me get started with that.
Very cool.
And I'm new into that world, and
Sure.
but I look forward to raising some capital and finding some deals like that.
Very cool. So yeah, Stratton's a good dude,
Hmm.
part of the hub there in Fresno. So I'm curious, going back to the three models, we're going to spend a lot of time on arbitrage because that's the topic I get asked about. But I want to understand your journey and your three models. So did you start with ownership, or what was the first thing you
I
started with?
started with management.
Okay.
So a friend of mine, he was kind of my first real estate mentor.
Yeah.
He's a kind of a big landlord in Berkeley,
Okay.
and we were just friends. There was really no job I could do for him
Sure.
because only people he wanted to work with were carpenters or
Yeah.
tradesmen.
Contractors. Yeah.
And so, but then we were friends, and when he had an open studio, like a studio vacancy came up,
Yeah.
and I said, hey, how about we put it on Airbnb? That was in 2012.
Okay.
He said, let's do it. We furnished it, and it was really easy. Guests started booking, and they just never stopped.
Got it.
And it's occupied to this day. And then, I only managed that one unit for a few years,
Okay.
and then eventually, and I always had other jobs at the time. But eventually, another friend said, hey, my brother has a unit. Can
Right.
you help him with that? And
Gotcha.
then that became 4 units for that guy eventually, and then 5 units for the first guy,
Yeah.
and then his brother. And
Okay.
then so it's always just grown like that, all word of mouth.
Very cool. Well, that's the best thing, growing word of mouth. So you start with Airbnb management, then it goes to ownership.
Well, yes. And so,
Okay.
or some arbitrage and ownership around the
Gotcha.
same time. But
Okay.
we bought a house, a conventional loan. Me and my wife bought a duplex in Richmond,
Okay.
and
Richmond,
so
California.
Richmond, California,
Yeah.
and there was a rent control tenant upstairs,
Yeah.
and then downstairs we put on Airbnb, and that was because it was a conventional, and because of the prices in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
it would have never cash flowed. We got it off the MLS. It
Right.
would have never made money, but it did make a little bit because we did short term rental.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
and so that brought me down to Fresno. Like
Okay.
I just was thinking, there's got to be a better way.
There's got to be a better way, man. This Bay Area stuff's crazy.
Yeah, and then I feel like I hit the jackpot with Fresno. Honestly,
All right.
like it has been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Well, let's talk about Fresno. I like Fresno too. They've been there 20 years. What'd you start in Fresno? What's the first thing you picked up?
So we picked up a single family house over near Fresno City College.
Oh, okay, cool. That's where my office is. Yep, cool.
Uh-huh. And I've seen it. I've seen your office.
Oh, nice.
But because it says something about real estate in front.
Yeah, the hub. Yep.
Yeah.
Big old
Uh,
lighted sign. That lighted sign's
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, yeah. So just a few blocks away is East Terrace Avenue.
I
So
know
we
it.
picked, yep.
Yeah.
So we picked up a house, and really my wife picked that. When I was looking at a duplex, I was trying to like get some value,
Yeah.
and I was looking at a real beat up uh, duplex, and like everyone was saying I am crazy, and I just was trying to figure out a way to make 3 units with convert the garage,
Yeah.
and then and everyone was telling me I'm crazy, and anyhow, so my wife picked a single family house that was beautiful
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah. What did
Um,
that go for? And what year? And what was the purchase price? Do you
that
remember?
was September 2018.
Okay. So yeah, you've had some good appreciation since then. That's a pretty good time to buy 2018. You're probably up 20%, probably.
I think so, and also more than that because there was an art studio in the backyard.
Oh,
But
nice.
it was
Yeah.
connected to the garage,
Yeah.
the single car garage, and it already had a living room and a kitchenette. So I had my I really lucked up on a real good builder,
Yeah.
and he converted that into a unit for me.
Very cool.
And I went back to the city to actually get it permitted after the fact, and
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that. It's almost done now.
Nice. Nice.
Like we're in the final everything.
Yeah, it's really slowed down permitting, just all this whole health crisis and all of this. So very, very cool. Fresno's a special place. So I really want to dig into Airbnb arbitrage. That's a topic I get. It's a sexy word. It means lots of things to different people. So Noah, what does Airbnb arbitrage mean to you?
It means you rent the property from the landlord
Yep.
with his or her permission to put it on Airbnb,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also pay all the expenses. Like I pay all the utilities, the internet. I pay for any furniture that needs to be replaced or repaired. I pay for all the incidentals,
Right.
and I pay him his rent every month by the 5th.
Yeah.
Um, and
This again is something that um, New York City, right, where my daughter's at, right? Subletting is a thing, right? Because you sign contracts and you sublet to other people. Subletting, at least in my experience, was never a thing in Fresno, right? It's you month to month rents. You got some nicer areas where you do daily Airbnbs. Now with the population, people coming in, the economy getting stronger in Fresno, you really are seeing Airbnb arbitrage as an opportunity, right? You got to be in nice areas, clearly, right? There are some parts of Fresno where it wouldn't make sense, right? You're not going to come out of town and go to some of the areas. But if you're by Fresno City College, like off Terrace, that's a gorgeous area. That all the architecture's cool. Makes total sense. But for me, the thing that was important in your story is you sign a lease with the owner, and you tell them that your intention is to turn it into a daily rental. I'm glad you said that because honestly, not everybody is doing that.
Right. And that's it. And I want to come back to that because that would be absolutely crazy. So by the way, in Richmond, after I did those first 4, I decided I didn't want to do anymore because it's too much cost for me up front. Like I want to find ways to buy properties, not furnish other people's because it's expensive. Like I might spend $6,000 to $10,000. Depends.
Easy.
And that's usually what I've been spending. And so I stopped doing it. And so this, but by the way, it's good to point out that this owner who said yes to me, it took him 1 year to say yes.
Ah.
So he built trust in me. So I used to own a carpet cleaning business. Okay. And I used to clean his carpets, me and my partner, a few years back. And I used to pitch a lot of owners while I was cleaning their carpets.
Right. That makes sense.
And I got a couple of jobs like that, Airbnb gigs, like cleaning the carpets. I got at least 3, nice. 3 customers like that. I don't clean carpet anymore, but things change. But I bumped into him at Home Depot. It had been a full year. Rent control had just kicked in.
It's amazing what happens. Oh, I'm suddenly interested.
And so now him, as well as my, the main Berkeley owner I work for, they will never rent to a tenant again. Like they want me to take every unit. So the guy in Richmond, he has 2 more like vacant. Yeah. And he wants me to take. And so the 5th one, I said no. I said, no, I don't want to do it. It's just, and so, and we were negotiating, and then he ended up saying, don't worry about it. He tried to have a relative do that for him.
Of course.
And then he came back and said, you know what, it's not working out. Please take it for me.
Yeah.
Take it from me. And the difference was he had already furnished it.
Oh, there you go.
And he even left all the utilities in his name.
Makes it easier.
So it was a real sweet deal for me.
Yeah.
But also I had been explaining to him, it's not always sweet for me.
Right.
Sometimes I break even.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're taking the risk, right? What the trade-off is between you and the landlord is, you know, the landlord's getting a guaranteed rent, which is what he wants, but you're out of pocket for 20 days, right? You pay on the 5th, you've got, I don't know, 24, 25, 26 days left in the month. You probably don't break even until like day 21 or 22.
Yeah. And it's really, you know, it's really simple with one unit. You can figure it out pretty well, but with a lot of units, it gets complicated. But what happens is sometimes you get paid at the beginning of the month. Like if someone books a full 30-day stay, but then sometimes you don't. So it's unpredictable. Sometimes people are doing short stays.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the month, they might do a full month stay. That means you're getting almost 2 months of income now and then nothing for a while.
Right.
So it has a little bit of unpredictability as far as when you get paid.
Yeah. The key with Airbnb arbitrage, again, there's multiple keys. First and foremost, you have to communicate with the owner. Again, some of your peers, some of YouTube University are like, no, just go sign the lease. Don't tell them, blah, blah, blah. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, like I don't even really want to do it with their permission anymore.
It's
like, so let alone that's just another possible problem.
Oh,
you know, you already have enough hurdles as it is. You don't want the owner against you.
Yeah, you don't want to be ducking and diving and having neighbors tell neighbors, and it's just not a good look.
No, it won't last. And by the way, so with the first one that I took, I offered him above market. Rent.
There you go. Yeah.
I try to incentivize him because I was willing to like buy my way into business.
Sure.
And I think I offered him about 200 above what he was asking at the time.
There you go.
And I think he might have gave me an extra month to come up with the full 1 month deposit.
Yeah.
Really liked. He saw it once in a while. He would see it during a turnover, and he would see how nice I had it furnished. He would see the cleaners coming and going. Yep. And he was really happy with how I was taking care of his property. Yep. And, you know, I guess from what he had been used to in Richmond.
Sure.
And so then when the next one came up, he every next property, he gave me a little sweeter deal.
There you go.
You know, like no deposit eventually.
Right. And then the next thing about the Airbnb arbitrage is you are out of pocket money up front because you're usually taking over a vacant unit, which means you're on the hook for furnishing. Mm-hmm. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, and with furnishing, I've set up a lot of units and you can get cheaper furniture, but it takes more time. Like I've driven to the South Bay to pick up a used bedroom set.
Right.
Right. You know, so you can buy used furniture in good condition, but it's going to be cash.
Yep.
You can use credit for new stuff.
Right.
But then when you're buying used, it also takes time because you have to get in a truck.
Oh, that's true.
Get one piece at a time. So it takes longer. So now I have a 25-foot storage in Richmond.
Yeah.
Full of furniture.
There you go.
You know, because I have a good relationship. A good buddy of mine is a junk hauler. So he's just continuously giving me furniture that he doesn't have to pay to throw away.
Nice. And just so people know, when you're talking Airbnb furnishings, it's everything. It's plates and forks and knives and towels, and it's everything.
Pot and pan set,
yeah.
Dishes, silverware, coffee maker. You know, I get a digital lock now, a Wi-Fi enabled digital lock for the front door. And now I get a dumb digital lock for the supply closet.
Oh, there you go. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have to do supplies as well? Like obviously like toilet paper and soaps. And I mean, it's like a hotel, right? I mean, it's everything.
It is. And so I give every guest, I'll give them like a starter kit.
Sure.
Like 4 rolls of toilet paper for each bathroom, you know, and one of everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes they ask, hey, like I'm out of something. And I have to tell them, well, if you stayed longer.
Yeah, it's on you.
No, yeah. When also we give them a discount, extended stay discount. So that's part of my reason.
Very,
and so,
cool.
but the main reason is I don't want the house cleaners to have to go buy more stuff because they're charging me by the hour.
By the hour, by the trip. Yeah. Very, very cool. So again, the Airbnb arbitrage, you have to communicate with the owner. you have to furnish it. So there are dollars out of pocket. You have to have processes and procedures, cleanings and checks and balances and all of that stuff.
And I also never bother the owner.
Right.
I won't call him about anything minor. I have my own handyman I send in as needed.
Yeah, very cool. And the other thing that you mentioned is, it was sort of in the context of rent control. This is a way, Airbnb arbitrage is a way you can get around. I don't know if get around's the right word, but legally not offer units up to rent control, right? Because again, rent control is month to month.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do Airbnb by the days, it's under the threshold, which is 14 or 30 days or something.
Well, specifically for Berkeley,
Mm-hmm.
I just met with a kind of a big property owner yesterday.
Okay.
And he owns like the whole block up in Upper North Berkeley.
Nice.
And, he has specifically, he wanted to show me an 8-unit building. And he's particularly concerned about renting it right now during COVID near the campus.
Yeah.
He's just, and it's a bad time, but
Right.
he had just finished a big remodel on a bunch of units.
Right.
And he doesn't want to do that. So, but specifically to your point, you can legally get around rent control, and like his son owns units also. And he had me call the city just to double check what I already knew.
Yeah.
And I got a voicemail. It's on my phone. I got an email from the city confirming, city's planning department confirming, in Berkeley, 14 days or more, they have tenants' rights. So they're like, that's fine. You can rent 14 days or more.
Yeah, but we're going 14 and less.
Right. No, but in Berkeley, we do 14 and more.
Oh, okay.
So because they don't allow under 14. So for the city of Berkeley, they've banned under 14 unless it's your primary residence. You have to come to the city, sign up. So one of my partners started getting fines in the mail.
Oh my God.
And so it took years for that to start. Like, they were talking about the regulations for years. I was going to city council meetings years ago, waiting for the new rules.
Mm-hmm.
And they just never came. They kept pushing it, month after month after month. And I gave up. I just said, you know what? They'll find us when they're ready.
Yeah.
And
they found him.
Finally in 2020, the first fine went out.
Goddamn 2020.
Yeah. And I think they use a third party, company to help track if your Airbnb says, your minimum night stay right on the profile page. If it's under 14 days, then and they also had another thing to where it was complaint driven. Was what I first learned. If 3 people complain, which actually happened to my partner.
Got it.
Because some of his other tenants in the long-term tenants finally
didn't
complained.
like it. Yeah.
But
so then tell me about the 14-day rule. So the city doesn't want short term, so nothing under 14. But I thought you just said that anything over 14 gives the tenants rights. I'm confused.
Right, but here's our superpower. We only rent it for at least 1.5 times market rent or more. So that means nobody would want to stay. So nobody would want to stay long, and they could be rent controlled in, but they're going to be way above market.
Okay, so let me just make sure this right. So you put out an ad, says 14 days or more, Berkeley, beautiful house, blah, blah, blah. Let's say market rent's $3,000. You offer it up for $6,000, just being crazy. Mm-hmm. So no monthly person's going to come there because it's above, but you may get. So what are you looking for? Are you looking for the 2-week stay, or what are you actually looking for?
So we're looking for 2 weeks. So we get a lot of 2 to 3 month stays.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
We get the 6 number, what we just talked about.
Right. Well, in Berkeley, it's not double. It's not double.
Whatever. Rent. Just the higher number.
Right. It's about 1.3, 1.6.
Because it's furnished and all that stuff.
Furnished, all utilities paid.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, and also, yeah. So what that does, so I just had to give the guy, it's kind of like the good news and the bad news.
Yeah.
I used to try to convince owners in Berkeley, but never again will I. It's just, it's a bad situation in Berkeley. But if they already own property, then only thing I can help them do is keep rent control tenants out. But the problem is the 5 units I'm managing in Berkeley now on Airbnb is they go vacant for chunks of time now because of the 14-day minimum. They might be vacant 20% of the time.
Ouch.
Because we could fill those if we allowed shorter stays.
Right.
And if we were willing to drop the price, but we're not willing to drop the price, and we're not willing to go under 14 days, so there's 20 to 25% vacancy. So in the end, the owner still might just be getting market rent.
Yeah.
After all that.
Yeah. The rules coming out in Berkeley and San Francisco and all of this. There are many cities. Berkeley's not alone, right? Going after Airbnbs, right?
They're not alone. So I always talk about the Cinderella's glass slipper story.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's why I ran to Fresno, and that's another reason why I started looking out of state.
Okay.
So what I've been really like trying to hone my skills on are remote management.
Oh, okay.
And so I managed 4 units in Vegas for several years.
Okay.
And it was a friend of mine's brother owned the first unit. And he said, no, just help us get started. We have a nephew there who can help.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't want me to just get started. He wanted me to do it, but he said, just try it. I said, it's a bad idea. It's too far. He said, just try it. I did it. And honestly, I really like remote management because all my close properties, they suck me in. They suck my time. I'm going there for it, whatever.
Right.
And there's always something that can suck your time. So with the remote ones, I had to really practice delegation.
Okay. I like that. So, again, somebody may find this video because they're interested in starting, Airbnb arbitrage. What would you tell that person that's living in YouTube University? They heard this title. What would you want them to get right in the beginning?
I would say first thing is get the city right.
Oh, okay.
So by the way, Fresno is probably the only place that I would consider arbitrage right now. I mean, because I know the market.
Well, it's a red city in a blue state.
Right. And people have been asking me now for the whole 3 years, or for the 2 years, why Fresno? What do people want to go to Fresno for? And the first answer is it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But then the actual answer is most of them are there for work.
Yeah.
They're traveling workers.
Yeah, absolutely. Traveling nurses and all that stuff.
Yeah. Or some, like I have people who wanted to come back and live close to their family.
Yeah.
While they're able to work from home, whatever the reason is. So.
Yeah, I think Fresno again has been really good. What people don't realize is Fresno's the 5th largest city in California. It's larger than Sacramento. It's the largest city not on the coast. You can live there on $60,000 a year. The average home is $320 grand now. It is a wonderful place to live. It does get hot in August. Yeah, but so what? It's a dry heat, as they say. Mm-hmm. But Fresno's a wonderful place to raise a family. And frankly, with all the stuff's going on, it's becoming an even better place to raise families.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. My family has had these rough talks about moving there.
Yeah.
But the problem is my wife's friends are here.
Of course.
In the East Bay, and my mother's here. Yeah. She'll disown me if I move. But I have kids and we all want a pool. If we went to Fresno, we could have a pool.
Shit, you could have 2 pools. That's awesome, man. So, okay, we're telling the new guy, get the city right. I got it. Again, I want to hit back. Folks, communicate with the owner.
So I believe you interviewed Kyle a while back.
Kyle Stanley, right?
Yeah. And so he's a friend of mine also. And he, I think he told me, if I'm not mistaken, 1 out of 10 landlords will say yes.
Yeah, that's about right.
Like if you go meet them in person, first you meet them in person, then you pitch them, 1 out of 10 will say yes. And
you got to just get a shot. It bothers me when people are out there talking about essentially breaking a contract. It bothers me to no end.
Well, I mean, you'll get busted
eventually.
Probably sooner than later, and it's not worth it, especially when you're putting your money in.
Oh.
Obviously you don't. You want to keep your word. You want to build relationships with people. Also.
Yeah, real estate's a people business, and just like you proved in how you grew word of mouth, you grew word of mouth because they said good things about you, Noah. If you had done bad things, that'd have gone the exact opposite direction. You'd be out of business today.
Exactly. And people trust me. I saw you interviewed Pace Morby a while back.
I did.
And I recently joined his mentorship.
Yeah, cool.
And met him. And then he, you know, the first day we met in person, he was at my landlord friend's house in Berkeley with me.
Oh, wow.
And he said, hey, why don't you manage my house in Las Vegas?
There you
He
go.
said, here's the address, the keys under the mat.
Ah, there
And
you
like
go.
literally, and I wasn't sure like how serious he was, but it was the last 2 weeks of summer.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, my family was dying to get out of town. So we drove up there.
Yeah.
I checked out the house and I said, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, let's do it.
There you go.
You know, and so I've been managing that now for a few months. And the very day I finished setting it up. So I was out there with my family. We went to the Grand Canyon. We did some stuff.
Yeah.
And then I ordered the furniture and some appliances. And, you know, and then I drove the family back home.
Yeah.
I flew out with my helper. And we had it done in a couple of days. We had to get it done in a 2-day period.
Yeah.
And the day we posted it online, that day we were coming back, a woman booked it for now she's been there for 2 months.
Wow.
And going on her third. She's probably
Pace has got to love you.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever even looked at the pictures, looked at the unit. And so he's a good
He's
guy
a moving and shaker, man. He's doing big things, that guy.
Yeah. You know, but he's been promoting me like crazy, so that's definitely helpful.
Very, very cool. Well, Noah, do me a favor. How can people follow you, reach out to you, get to know more about you, what's going on? Again, Airbnb arbitrage is a thing. Airbnb management, Airbnb ownership. People are going to want to reach out to you. How should they do it?
My Instagram is Noah Mail, NOAHMAIL. Let me make sure. Yeah, NOAHMAIL.
And I will put that in the first line of the description, man.
Right. One last thing I wanted to throw in there is the other thing you want to watch out for are HOAs.
Oh, big time.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah. So you have to make sure that they're not going to actively stop you or send you threatening letters. Yeah. And then the third thing are neighborhoods, right? Neighborhoods. Like I do manage some Airbnbs in dicey neighborhoods, like, you know, gray area.
Yeah.
But reviews, you want your reviews can hurt you. So, you know, so that would be the thing. Yeah. I mean, you can make money, like for sure, but it's just something else that you got to remember.
Well, very cool, Noah. Thank you for doing this, man. Good luck with everything. Congrats. You're killing it. Maybe someday we'll see you in Fresno.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Michael.